Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen James, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Well, at the moment it doesn't, obviously, guys, with all the personal issues are going on at this moment in time, guys. So, look, we've got a statement, an official statement tonight that has been put out by the club and by the 49ers Enterprises. It's also on a number of obviously major Rangers platforms. This was on Sky Sports. It's a joint statement from Rangers and 49ers Enterprises. This is the first time, of course, that the two parties have spoken together or have even spoken about the takeover. Jed York obviously has in the past kind of dodged around it. He talked about Leeds United obviously in the NFL owners meeting in Palm Beach. He did not, and obviously the San Francisco 49ers, he did not obviously reference the Rangers at that point. Well, not directly anyway. But this is the statement that was put out tonight. It says Rangers and its existing controlling shareholders are in productive conversations with the two lead members of the consortium, Andrew Kavanagh and 49ers Enterprises Global Football Group, about the potential for the consortium to acquire control of the club and to inject additional capital. These discussions reflect a shared recognition of the importance of Rangers FC long-term direction, ambitions and management. So it's the first time, like I said, that the two parties have spoken at the same time or have put out a joint statement and have officially recognised, obviously, that the takeover talks are in progress. Obviously, directly mentioned in that statement is Andrew Kavanagh, the health insurance mogul, the guy who is a health insurance billionaire, and obviously the 49ers Enterprises, who are linked to the San Francisco 49ers, headed up by Vice President of Football Operations at the 49ers, Parag Marathe, who is also Chairman of Leeds United, who obviously recently were promoted back to the Premier League. There you go, Celtic fans. That excuse has now gone as well. Congratulations to Leeds, obviously, as well. Right, and obviously as well, Jed York. Now, people have said, well, it's got nothing to do with Jed York. Well, actually, it has, because Jed York provides all the money for 49ers Enterprises. The bankroll, the money for that doesn't just come from the middle of nowhere or from the magic money tree on the California coast. It comes from the York de Bartolo family. So, what does this mean for the club going forward, and what does this mean for us as fans? Well, it's like I said, it's the first time there's been an official recognition of the takeover talks. It still talks about potential. Obviously, this is because, of course, nothing is yet confirmed and decided. Obviously, due diligence has been completed. Legal side of it has been completed. But it is now about finalising those agreements for the 49ers and for Andrew Kavanagh to purchase 51% of the shares in Rangers, which will therefore give them the majority ownership. Now, obviously, Rangers have a very complicated ownership model at this present moment in time, where there is no one shareholder who holds a majority stake. So it's not like, for example, they can go to one man or one group and say, we want to buy your shares and control the club. They have to obviously buy a number of different shares and different people out and finalise that, obviously. So you're looking at, obviously, Dave King, who is the biggest shareholder, around 13%. The godforsaken Park family at around about 11%. Obviously, John Bennett, I think, has about 11% as well. Sandy Easdale, obviously Julian Wolfhart. There's a number of people, obviously, who are involved with the club, and so obviously a number of negotiations need to take place to confirm the final purchase price of said shares and to obviously take control. Then, of course, there is the agreement will need to be reached of some description with the people who hold the other 49% of the shareholding. I think, in the long run, obviously Andrew Kavanagh and I think the 49ers will seek to obviously take 100% of the shares, very much as the 49ers Enterprises Group have done in Leeds United. That will be the intention. Now, of course, the kind of heartwarming, the kind of positive side of this story tonight that is breaking is the fact that the discussions, as it says in this statement, recognise a shared understanding of, first of all, a long-term direction for the club. So an upward trajectory, an upward spiral for the club in terms of A, getting back to winning trophies again, B, being successful in Europe and playing in Europe's top competition, the Champions League, C, developing the trading model. Very much that is what I think is intended with the appointment of Kevin Thelwell, who's done that at Everton. D, obviously getting the youth academy up and running properly, as well as I know Andrew Kavanagh has spoken about that in particular. And obviously, recognising as well that there is a need for clear management and ownership of this club, that there are certain appointments that need to be made to move the club forward, to get the club moving in a forward trajectory. So obviously, we're looking at the sporting director role, which seems to be going to former Everton sporting director Kevin Thelwell, who's also had that same role at Wolves, for example, in the Premier League, so has got good Premier League experience. We'll break down Thelwell a little bit more on the morning news video. And of course, in terms of, the ambitions of the club, and I think the ambitions of the fans as well. So I think there's an understanding there from the 49ers, from Andrew Kavanagh, that there is an ambition within the fan base to move this club forward, to bring this club back to where it should be, which is back at the top of the Scottish game. This is a dominant force. This is the biggest club in Scotland, and you can listen to the rubbish that comes out the other side of the city. Of course you can, but historically we are the biggest club in Scotland. Historically we are the most successful club in Scotland. To this point we still are. This is because we don't cheat by counting war trophies, the trophies that won in the wartime, which of course no other club around the world does. In Spain, in Germany, in England, it's only that cheating lot across the city that have to obviously, take advantage of a horrific situation like that, because they've got no moral compass at all. But look, at the end of the day, this is a very positive development. It's a very positive statement from both the 49ers Enterprises Group and Rangers. We'll obviously bring you a bit more on this. We'll look into this properly, so I'll bring a bit more knowledge to it. But just wanted to bring sort of that breaking news out there to you, and sort of give you a little bit of positivity in what has been a pretty dreadful season. A season of, when it's people talk about you moan, you whinge, you whine, you rinse them out. Well, it's been so hard this season not to, because find me the positives. It's been a very tricky season. It's been a hard season. It's been a fight. It's been a bit of a grind to be a Rangers fan this season, hasn't it? Just the awful performances, the awful managerial decisions, the awful decisions by the board, the losses, it's just not been great. And you can try and be positive, but you can't obviously polish a turd. And it's this. I think there's certain individuals and there's certain minority groups within our fan base that seem to think that we can trying to teach you can pick up a turd by the clean end, which obviously doesn't exist. You can't polish a turd. You can't obviously knit fog. You can't obviously to turn something as bad as this into something positive, because it just isn't. There is very few positives to take from this season. Hamza Riggerman possibly being one of them, Nicholas Raskin possibly another, but other than that, it's tricky, isn't it, to find them? But this is a very positive bit. I think obviously now it's all about winding the season down, getting this season over and done with, finalising this takeover, and beginning what needs to be a major revolution and a major rebuild in the summer to turn this club round. It almost needs ripped down and started all over again in a way. And I hope that Andrew Kavanagh, Parag Marathe and the rest of the 49ers Enterprises Group are in a position to do that. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, on the way out, please like, comment, share and subscribe. And remember always, we are the people.